What is going on, brothers and sisters? Eric Rosen here, your internal strength coach, here to show you how to overcome your greatest challenges so you can shine your brightest light. It is Thursday, September 20th of 2018, and the topic that I have prepared for you guys today is about experiencing a shift in your reality, a shift in your perception of life. So how this is different from what I talked about yesterday, which is being in the stream, like this live stream, that's more of kind of like the connection, the oneness, if you will, where you feel connected with the universe, the earth, all living things. It's a place where things just feel light and clear, and it's really like this great space to be. The way it's different is a shift is this is an individual level, okay? It's an individual level where you're experiencing a shift in your own personal reality. It's where all of a sudden you start to see your life differently, where it's kind of like, oh, so that's what this is. So that's what this is. This is what my life is about right now, or this is what my life is about, you know, on the larger scale. And it's a place where things are clear, where you just all of a sudden you're like, I get it now, as opposed to being in a place of I don't understand what's going on, or you're indecisive about which route to take. You just experience this shift, and it's almost like what is it called, a turnpike, like on the highway, where all of a sudden you go off in this other direction. It doesn't always have to be like a complete 90 or even a 180 or anything. It can even just be like this subtle 1 degree shift, but it's the shift that puts you on the right track, the track that is going to lead you to the next level, whatever that looks like for you in your just understanding of your life. That could go many different ways. But so the way that I experienced this, actually I experienced this right before I wanted to come up with what I wanted to talk about for this video, where, you know, I talked the other day about how I kind of had to eat a little bit of humble pie, eat some crow, and kind of almost get the ego in check a little bit, because it's like, I know what I want to coach, I want to help people, but I also want it right now, and that's the ego coming in. I want it now. And there was this realization that there's still other things that are going on in my life, there's still other places where I'm expanding, and that as much as my heart wants to, putting every egg in, not every egg, but 100% of my time and effort into the coaching, into the personal training, is not in alignment right yet. And that's not to say that I'm not equipped to help people, because from the experiences that I have had so far, those are the kind of clients that I will attract. That's how the law of attraction works. I'll be able to attract the people that I want to help, that are at the level that I've risen to so far, my understanding. But the humble part of it, the humble warrior part of it, is that the shift that I had is that there's still other roles that I have to take on in my life. There's still other hats that I have to wear, you know, and it's everything. It's everything leading up to this and beyond, where it's like the things that, it's almost like this contract that I formed, to get really weird on you guys, but this contract almost like that I formed before, like in between lives, like in between like a past life, where it's like, okay, I'm going to come in, I'm going to experience a lot of challenges in my life, I'm going to experience a bunch of different roles, have a lot of different experiences, you know, heartache, failed relationships, just any loss, failure, but then also, you know, experiencing the triumph, the happiness, and moving through all these different experiences. The more experiences that I have, it's the more people that I'm going to be able to help. Okay, if that makes sense. So there's just going to be a more diverse group of people, because the more, you know, stuff that happens to me, the more that I can relate to someone who's went through that. And then when I overcome those challenges, and I learn from it, and I overcome that, and I'm able to understand the lesson, I'm able to express how I feel about it, that's how I'm able to relate and inspire you guys to know it's like, hey, I went through this too. You know, I've been I am a single father. I've experienced what it's like to be unemployed. I've experienced what it's like to struggle for money. I've experienced heartache that lingers for years and years and years, stuck emotions, inadequacy, challenged childhood, career change, all all kinds of stuff. And and it's not to say like, oh, like victim, like all this stuff happened to me. No, it happened for me. It happened for me so I could learn, grow, overcome, get stronger, and then share it with others. So that was the shift, that it's like, oh, there's still other hats that I have to take on. There's still other experiences and growth that I have to move through. And it's not only moving through those things, but because it's this realization of knowing that there'll continue to be challenges, and because you can only hold so much in your world, like there's stuff I'm gonna have to detach from. There's gonna be experiences that I have to like eventually like leave behind and detach from, and then embrace this willingness to like go into the unknown of like, okay, what's the next experience? And so this doesn't sound rosy, but that's where that stream effect comes in, where it's like, okay, I'm dipping out of the stream and I'm going into these experiences to learn from them and grow from them and evolve from them. But then I'm able to like still move into that place of the stream where things feel clear and light, and there is still happiness, there is joy, there is still love. It's not all like the heartache of the challenges and of the experience. Like it's the up and down, it's the contrast of the universe, So the way that, and I always learned from these things. I always learned from them. I always came out of it with a better understanding and a very humbling experience. I never ever felt wronged or like I couldn't go on. So that's the other thing too, is like the more experiences that I have, the more when someone comes to me and they're like, well, this and this happened, the more that I can relate to them and be like, well, hey, I overcame it and here's how I did it, or something to that effect of like showing, or at least knowing, like, because I talk about the transformation, about leading you guys to your own truth, leading you to your own answers. So maybe I have the same experience. It's not so much sharing like, oh, this is how I did. It's more about guiding them towards that truth that maybe they're seeking, because it's like, I know like what the answer is, but I need to let you find it for yourself. So I'm just kind of leading you in that direction. So the way that this shift came up was that surrender. It was that surrender of the ego, like surrendering to, okay, as much as I want this, it's not going to happen like right this second. Like as much as I want it to, there's still growth that's occurring. So it was the surrender. And once that surrender happened, and I'm like, okay, there's these other things that I have to do alongside of what I want to do with the coaching, with the personal training. And when I was able to do that, I was able to start manifesting and, and acting from that aligned place, where it wasn't like before, where I was like really tense and trying to control situations, but then also wobbling like back and forth, like which track do I take? Which track do I take? And so when you're tense like that, like when I was like tense and trying to control the situation and indecisive and just not open and not being in like this happier, more positive aligned space, or at least a humbled space, the shift could not happen, because the shift is this monumental change, and change cannot happen when you're trying to grip the steering wheel so tight, and it's like your refusal to like look at things differently or change tracks. So that's my advice. That's the action item that I would give, is whatever's going on, rather than trying to internalize intellectually, trying to always figure things out and being like, oh, there's got to be a solution, and not feeling like you're in a line space, that the timing is not right, that you're on the wrong track. Be in that place of, okay, I'm aligned. And if you're not feeling that way and you're in your head, that's when you dip your head into the stream. That's when you need to like actually go and check in with yourself, do the self-inquiry, see how you really feel instead of being up here all the time. Because being up here, getting stuck in the monkey mind, you know, it's like your brain's like gripping like too tight all the time, and it's a refusal to change and see things differently. So you open up, you see how you feel, you go into the stream, and you're like, okay, I don't know what this is about, but I'm just going to stay open to it. It's just like the way that it came up to me when I realized what was going on. It was because, well, it just came to me as it came to me, but it's ultimately the openness that's going to get you there. The more that you try to control situations, the more you try to control outcomes, the more you cannot have the shift in perception where you can see your reality for a different way. And I think that is one of the number one things that plague people, is when it's that refusal to change, it's that refusal to see things differently, it's a refusal to let go and surrender to maybe things look differently. And that's why people will stay down the same track, and that's why you'll sometimes talk to people who are older, and it's more about talking about the good old days, the glory days, or when I was younger it was like this and this and this, and it's like a very sad story. And it's sad because at some point in their life they had to change tracks, they had to change where they were going. They probably experienced some type of loss, some type of heartache. They didn't know how to deal with it. Maybe they even numbed out to it with something, like drugs, alcohol, etc. And then they never take their life to the next level. So in a way, like, that's the cautionary tale. It's like when you go and you sit at, say, the bar next to the person in their 50s or 60s, and it's just kind of like low vibe, and they're just kind of being a barfly and not really moving on with their life. The way that you don't end up like that is by letting go of not only your tragedies, the things that happen to you, but realizing that you can learn from those things. That it's not just victim. You didn't just get victimized. You were challenged. You learn from it, you grow from it, you take what you need, you leave the baggage, and you move on. But otherwise you stay stuck. You stay stuck in, well, I got fucked, and this is the reality that I'm gripping onto. You can't experience that shift in perception, like, oh, well, maybe this happened because it wasn't meant to be. Maybe this wasn't meant for me. Maybe this relationship wasn't meant for me, and maybe that's why it ended. Maybe that's why the divorce happened. Anyways, I know it's a cautionary thing. Like, it's not the happiest, like, high vibe thing, like going into like the older person that is really suffering, but it's a self-imposed suffering, unfortunately. They might get upset if they hear that, but you've always got that choice. And the choice is the surrender, the surrendering the control. And then that's when you let the universe come in. That's when you let the stream come in and like show you, like, oh, this is what it's about. I could have stayed on that same track of like, no, this is gonna work. I'm gonna fucking coach people. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna help so many people. I'm not fucking with anything else. And then maybe had I just ignored the signs telling me like, hey, there's still expansion going on here, bro. Like, this is still something that you are going to help people. It's absolutely going to manifest. But to like scale it up the way that you want to right this second, not yet, man. So if I would ignore those signs, kept going down that path, maybe I would have crashed and burned. Maybe I would have ran. Maybe I would have, experienced, some great financial loss or doubt and fear of like, what? I thought this was supposed to happen. I thought it was supposed to look like this and work. I thought that I was supposed to do this with my life. I thought this relationship was supposed to work. I thought I was supposed to live here and it didn't work. It's kind of like, like Back to the Future 3. Like, do you want, Back to the Future 3 reference, they're about to launch the time machine, but the train's pushing it along and then the track's going to end at some point. So do you stay on the track and crash with the fucking train because you don't want to switch tracks, or do you say, you know what, it's time to fucking blast off into the fucking future and leave this fucking bullshit behind and just move on? And the bullshit is your perception of reality that's not matching up with what's really in alignment for you, what's actually going to get you to where you really want to go in your life, because you're just gripping too fucking tight. Okay? Think about it, guys. I'm going to run here. Coaching's available. Personal training's available. I know sometimes I get on here and I get pretty deep, but it's fun to me, so fuck it. But yeah, ericrosencoaches@gmail.com. If you guys want to go deeper with, the understanding of your reality, you want to work with mindset, you want to work with your emotions, or even just on like the more physical level, if you got health concerns or just want to do preventative maintenance with your health, you want to get fit, do personal training, you want to know what the fuck I'm talking about or something, you're like, man, like this stuff sounds cool, I want to know more about it, anything like that, send me a message. I would love to work with you. But you guys have an awesome evening, and I'll be back tomorrow. Take care.